Hey everyone, so it's Wondering Wednesday today, and we're going to go over accommodations on places where you can stay around the world. Not just here in Australia, but these can apply to just about anywhere. Some places more than others. So this video is applicable to many places and many styles of travel. So we're going to go over a few places and how you can stay and where you can stay at while you're traveling. First and foremost, you have hotels, motels, hostels. You can also do couch surfing, which is a free service that people offer for you to sleep on their couch. So you can literally couch surf around the world. That's another option as well for those budget travelers. I haven't experienced it yet, but I do plan to one day. So camper vanning, RV, and also camping. Those are very cheap options. You can buy you a camper van out here in Australia, which is a lot of mini backpackers do that. And they travel around and sleep in the van, and it's like kind of like glamping because you're not really camping, but you are still camping, and that's also another option. And I think that with that option is a very good option to take and to consider into, because you can see so many things. You can go on road trips in a camper van. You have the freedom to actually do those types of things, and you're not stuck to a tour or a bus or anything like that. So that is also an option that you can consider for your accommodation needs while traveling. Also, another great option is Airbnb, which is currently where I am now. This is an Airbnb in South Coogee, and I love Airbnb. I've used it in the States and I've used it in Australia. Airbnb is a phenomenal way to travel and also meet other travelers and people who open their house up for you to stay. Also with Airbnb, if you want to stay with Airbnb, there are some really amazing places and you should check them out. I have an Airbnb bucket list and I want to stay in some of these places that are on Airbnb. They're phenomenal. I also have a coupon for you if you've never tried Airbnb and you want to experience it. So that will be linked down in the description down below, and you can get 42 Australian dollars off your first stay in an Airbnb. If you want to check out my video for the Airbnb that I'm staying in and all of my Airbnb reviews, go to this video and check that out. Also, another way is house sitting. So for an example, some people may leave their house and they need plants to be watered or pets to be taken care of. There's many websites that you can check out for this. I will link some down below for house sitting if that is something that you would like to consider. It also is a pretty cool option in my opinion. Also, if you are going to be staying in a city to be working or whatnot, you may not want to stay in a hostel for a extended period of time. You may kind of want to move into an apartment. You can also check out flat share, where people share their flats, or they're looking for roommates for people to come and share their flats. So another cool option is woofing, which is will and workers on organic farms. It's basically where you go to a farm and you work and they provide you with food and accommodation. So you may work 4 hours or 6 hours on a farm, and in exchange for the work that you do, you get accommodation. So that's also another cheap and free way to travel. Woofing is pretty cool. I've known several people who have done woofing and they say that it's really an awesome experience. Some people handle with animals, some people may be picking and planning and stuff like that, but that's also an option to consider if you are thinking that you want to do woofing. Woofing. Woof. Also, another cool thing is there's different types of accommodations. Like, I actually was looking online and I seen that you can stay in an igloo and an ice hotel, which that's pretty cool. Like, how cool? Like, that's cool. Ha, pun intended. But seriously, you can live in an igloo or stay in an igloo or an ice hotel, which I think is a very awesome option for accommodation needs. Also, if you're thinking water, then there's houseboats and there's yachts. You know, there's plenty of yacht cruises and tours that you can do, which seems very awesome. I plan to do those in the future. They look like a lot of fun, and that's also another accommodation need that can meet your needs. Another thing that I want to explain about is when you are looking for your accommodation and you know a general idea of where you are wanting to stay. Say for an example, you're flying into Sydney. You know, find your hostel and book for a couple of days because you're going to be tired after the jet lag kicks in, and it's nice to have somewhere to stay for a few days. If you are trying to stay somewhere like in Sydney around New Year's or Christmas, then you should really consider booking those things in advance. And different ways that you can book your travel is book online. Hostel World is a really, really awesome website that you can look at to check out all the reviews, and other travelers let you know what is going on in that establishment and if it's a good place to stay. The reviews don't lie. So you can always book online or just rock up on the same day, and as soon as you rock up, you know, hopefully have somewhere to stay. There's loads of accommodation everywhere here in Australia itself, but like I said, these can apply to things and places all over the world. So just with that being said, there's so many different accommodation needs. Don't worry about coming out to travel and not having somewhere to stay. Yes, it's a very scary situation, and that's a thought that may cross some of your minds, and it's something that no one wants to go through. No one wants to not have anywhere to stay. So if you're worried about somewhere to stay, then always either book online or give them a call and let them know, hey, I'm planning to come, do you have availability? Or just rock up and say, hey, you know what, I need a place to stay. And you have a bed. And it works like that, so it's very easy. When you go to a hostel, you don't have to book everything too far in advance. Book a few days, maybe 3 days, because that's a roundabout. Most accommodations will have extra beds usually, and you can just rock up to the desk and say, hey, you know, book me in for another week, or I want to extend. And that happens to a lot of people, and sometimes people become long-termers in hostels like that, and that's exactly how they do. They find a place that they love, and that's where they end up staying, which is why I stayed at Wake Up for 3 months. And I will be doing that review on another video, and you can check that out. I will link that video in too as well if you want to check out Wake Up. Wake Up is a wonderful hostel. I really enjoyed my time there, and it was just an amazing experience to work for accommodation. And I also plan to do another video on that as well, so you can learn how to work for accommodation and what work for accommodation actually is. Maybe you just want to live in the luxury life. I don't know. I'm a budget traveler. But if you do, then you can stay in villas and nice luxury hotels. Those are options for you as well. Also, another thing that I stayed in on my travels is I went to a timeshare presentation back in the States. They're very popular, and it just wasn't right for me at the time. However, timeshare, I'm not sure if it's something that I would ever want to commit to. But however, for going to that presentation, they did hook me up with a free stay for 7 days in Orlando, Florida, or anywhere of my choosing from the list that they provided at one of their locations. That's also another option for you if you wanted to consider going to a timeshare presentation and maybe seeing if it's right for you, and then also checking it out for free on them to see if it's something that you might want to consider. Promise you, people will let you stay with them. If you have friends in a city and you want to go explore that city, message them. Say, hey, I'm going to be in this city. You know, I've never met you, and I would like to meet you. You know, you don't have to stay with them, but you know, meet with your friends that you've met online that you may not know, which is a very cool experience, which I did when I first got here to Australia, and I had a lot of fun with the person that I met offline here in Australia, and she was amazing, and she really just welcomed me to Australia when I first got here. It was a really amazing experience. So thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate it. But always, do not be afraid to network, and also don't be afraid to travel, because there is somewhere that you can stay, and I promise you will find accommodation. If you guys like this video, hit the like button and also hit subscribe. If you want to follow and wander around with me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, all at Wondering Casey. Come wander with me. Peace.